Welcome back, everybody. Let's pour another one, shall we? In this episode, we're going to show you how we created and constructed this really cool fireplace mantelpiece. We got a piece of poplar wood. We started cutting it up to size so that it would fit in our form that we created. Then we got everything all planed and smooth. That way everything fit in the form nice and snug, nice and tight, and nice and flat. We went ahead and we got some Tyvek tape. We cut our pieces out to our form so that we could construct everything, put it all together, screw all the edges in. And I always like to use Kreg screws. They're so durable, so tough, and you can't beat them. We had everything done. We got it all finished up here. We went ahead and siliconed everything. It's so crucial, folks, to make sure that you silicone all sides, every seam in your form. A leak or a spill at this level could be awful. Really, really bad because you're pouring a lot of epoxy in there. And if you get a leak, chances are you're gonna lose half, if not more, of your pour. And that's not good. We went ahead and got some Upstart Deep Pour, the best in the business. Got it all poured up, got everything stirred up, threw in a couple of different colors that we don't normally use. This was actually gonna be a tri-pour. So we got sparkling white, we got silver to go with the tiles that were around the client's fireplace hearth, and then we went ahead and went with like a bronze copper, and we mixed all those colors up just to see what we were gonna get. All of these colors kind of tied in already with what the client had in terms of her area, so we wanted to make sure that these all blended in with that environment. We let it set for a couple of hours just to make sure there was no leaking, nothing like that going on. And we went ahead and we poured another load of the same three colors. That way we could bring up the color factor a little higher. We wanted to do a really cool depth pour for this mantelpiece. So we wanted the epoxy to be a little bit higher. That way it really shows off the depth effect. And here you can see it's starting to shape up. It looks really cool. Everything's settling in, no leaks, no worries. Everything's going really, really good. Now, when using your heat gun, of course, you're going to use it to get all the bubbles out, but it's really cool because you can also use it to sway and influence the epoxy into the other colors that you have there. I really like to do something just like this right here. That way you get that epoxy moving. You get it moving around, you get it active, you get the colors mingling and stuff. That way when you do this, the more you do this actually, while it's at this state after a fresh pour, the more you're going to get a really cool end result. You can also wait till it gets like the consistency of peanut butter is what I tell people. That's when you'll get your final swirl. But when you're doing this prior to that, it's always good to get that epoxy moving around and get those colors mingling and stuff. That way you get your finished effect. Now here is where we have our finished effect. We went ahead and we're gonna go ahead and pour a clear coat over this because remember I said we were gonna do a depth effect on this with a twist. The twist will be coming up, but we wanted to get our clear pour in here, and it looks really good. It looks super, super clear, crisp, a little bit of bubbles, but those will come out. We'll use the heat gun to get those out, and we still have a little bit more that we're gonna pour in lastly. The customer wanted some swirls that looked like they were suspended or floating in the clear area of the epoxy. So that's what we were planning on doing next. We got all the bubbles out. You always wanna make sure all those bubbles are out. Then we went ahead and we got some just regular white pigment. We mixed it up and we went ahead and we started swirling a little bit into the clear epoxy. Once it was getting a little bit thick, not too thick, but a little bit. And we hit the edges and we went through the whole thing, and look how cool those came out. Those are something else, I swear. I've been seeing a lot of makers making these, and I am definitely gonna make a lot more and incorporate this effect into a lot more of my works. It's just so cool and captivating. Now we went ahead and we poured in our final clear coat. This is gonna really bring out the effects of those swirls, and it's gonna make them look 3D, and it's gonna make them look suspended, and it's gonna give off that depth. That's what we're going for, and that's what we wanted in this pour. Now we're still gonna go ahead and flood coat this once we take it out and sand it and all that, but look how cool that those swirls look. Look how much the vibe they give off. They really are impressive, and they really are eye-catching. That's all I can say. It's just really cool. Then I went ahead and pulled out the hand planer for this. I didn't really want to mess with it and get too deep into there in terms of planing it. Then we cut the edges just to square it up and get it down to the size that the customer wanted. Always reveals a lot between the wood and the epoxy, and that part's cool. So then I had the floating effect tool for this mantelpiece. I had to cut off a couple of the edges on these bars that were going in there because they would have revealed through the epoxy, and we didn't want that. We wanted our clarity in the epoxy to maintain its composure and look stunning. But if we would have kept these on at the length that they were at, they would have cut through there and you would have seen them, and that's what we were trying to avoid. So we went ahead and we measured and we cut off all the little edges that we needed to with this. Got it lined up, made sure that they were precise, and they were. They were just enough not to impede into the way of the epoxy. And now it was time to drill the holes for those bars. And I got a little old school with my square and my drill, something my dad taught me years ago, and it worked out perfectly, you know, it still worked. We got those counted in, and it was time to go ahead and start sanding this baby. I knew it was gonna look beautiful. There was a couple of spots where I had to use some Star Bond to fill in the cracks, and that stuff works great. I really recommend using Star Bond if you ever need it, guys. It's perfect. Then we went ahead and sanded it up again, sanded all the edges. We sanded this particular board all the way to 500 grit, just because we wanted that reveal to really pop when we poured that flood coat over it. And you'll see in a few minutes, it really did. We went ahead and water popped the grain just to make sure that it was good. And it was on the up and up. Then we took it inside and we sprayed some isopropyl alcohol on it and wiped it down real good. That's really good for getting off any excess dust that you may have left on there. Isopropyl alcohol works perfect for that. We mixed up our part A and our part B of the tabletop epoxy from Upstart Epoxy. Got that all hand mixed so that there's not a lot of bubbles. And we looked over the piece and it was looking good. It was all sanded to 500 grit. So it was really smooth, and we were really excited about this flood coat. Look how cool that these swirls look through that. That is just something of beauty right there. Check it out. Got all that poured on. Started making sure we had a good little overflow on the edges with the epoxy so that everything was flowing good. It was nice and level. And man, this piece is just really starting to come together, folks. At this point, we were really super excited, and you can see how cool that flood coat looks on this. I mean, just look at that edge. Look how clean and crisp that is. I gotta say, this was a really fun piece to make. It took a little while, but if you wanna do something good and you wanna do something right, you gotta take your time on it. I've learned the hard way a lot by trying to rush through jobs and rush through finishing stuff. It just doesn't work out. You always got to take your time. You got to pay attention to every little detail on it, whatever it is that you're working on. But if you want to produce good results, quality results, and most of all, results that your customer is going to appreciate, you've got to be happy with the piece yourself to make that happen. And as you can see, this piece just came out exactly the way we wanted it to. It was beautiful. It was stunning. It was shining. It was just the depth effect. We really killed the depth effect on this. It really shows off those swirls. It shows off the level of depth. It shows the inside of the wood. It was just, I mean, it was really spectacular. And it's kind of cool on this piece. It kind of looks like an eagle taking flight or something. We've gotten a lot of responses on that, both on our Instagram and here on YouTube. And, you know, I had never even seen that until it was brought to my attention by a few of the users, and I would like to thank everybody for that. It really came out sweet, and it does look like that, like a phoenix taking flight or something. It's really cool. Anyways, back to the video. So after we were done admiring this piece for so long, we went ahead and we coated the underside of it with Battleship Gray. That way it would blend in and tie in with the customer's tile that was surrounding her hearth. And at the end of the video, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. So we just flipped it over on its side, taped the edges. That way none of this would leak over into our flood coat. So you'll see that there's some tape on there. We just used translucent clear tape. I like to use that the best. A lot of people like painter's tape. I've never had good luck with painter's tape. But if you use clear tape, it's great for keeping the bubbles out from the underneath. And, well, here's the final reveal, folks. This thing came out just absolutely banging. We couldn't be happier with the piece. The customer was happy with the piece. Everybody was happy, and I, to be honest, can't wait to make another one of these. So if you or anybody you know wants one of these, contact us. Our info is on Instagram and our info is here on YouTube. We would be happy to make something like this for anybody. This was just something that was the reason that we work in epoxy and the reason that we would continue to work in epoxy. When you can create something stunning like this, which anybody can, it's well worth it. And the benefits are so rewarding to see the smile and the happiness in the customer's appreciation. If you like this video and you like other videos like this, subscribe to our channel. Hit that notification bell. We'll tell you when we're making another one. This is Steve with Refined Nature. I hope you enjoyed this video. And I know this guy, the shop foreman, approved of it. And look how beautiful it is in its home, folks. Take care and have a good one. And thanks for watching.